Hey, I'm Zelah. The reason I'm here today is because of an accident. A few months ago, I was on a TV show called Big Brother, and I spoke about something I'd never really opened up about before. You see, as housemates, we used to say words we thought they'd never air when we were talking about stuff we didn't want them to include in the edit. And so I said the words Davina McCall about 6 times when opening up to another housemate about the fact that I'd suffered with an eating disorder in the past. Unfortunately, editing exists, and the producers managed to air the conversation anyway. No Davina McCalls included. Now, for someone who has documented their entire transition from female to male on TikTok and overshared one too many times on the internet, I had to ask myself why I was so cagey about showing this old part of me. The truth is, for someone who has fought for their place in society as a man, my eating disorder was something I had unconsciously prescribed as the girliest part of me. Now, I know that eating disorders don't have a gender. I know that this isn't true. But at the time, it felt like something that undermined the identity I had worked so hard to build. When I look back at the teenage girl I was, motorbike riding, tattoo wearing, angry, toxic, I was performing masculinity in every way I could, until I closed the bathroom door. And so even after recovery, this remained a secret. It's only now, a decade later, as a confident and comfortable transgender man, that I'm able to share this. At the age of 14, after being bullied about my appearance and developing a poor body image, I started making myself throw up after meals. At 15, I was diagnosed with bulimia. My therapist at the time was more concerned about the other mental health issues I was dealing with, and so we let it take a back seat. I then struggled with bulimia on and off for the next 7 years. At 21, I reached out for help. I was referred to a therapist who I saw for a few weeks before being told that my eating disorder was no longer active enough for her to help me, that a few relapses every few months wasn't enough to warrant intervention. At the time, I never questioned it. I was used to the in-between. You feel it as a mixed-race person, as a queer person, a working-class person, a woman. Never white enough, never brown enough, never feminine enough, never masculine enough, never rich enough, never poor enough, and here I was being told that my eating disorder wasn't bad enough. And I believed it. This story is not unique, but not everyone gets to use the past tense. Some people don't get the chance to tell their story at all. Recovery shouldn't have a threshold you have to cross before you're allowed support. We talk about crisis a lot in this country, but what about prevention? When services are stretched, when waiting lists are long, when the criteria for help becomes narrower and narrower, what we are really saying is, come back when you're worse. We are asking people to prove their suffering, we are asking them to get sicker, and some of them won't make it back. That is why marches like this matter. Because this is not just about awareness, it's about accountability. It's about demanding a system that recognizes eating disorders early, treats them seriously, and supports people before they reach breaking point. And it's also about challenging the shame that keeps so many of us silent. Shame that tells masculine-presenting people that they don't struggle with eating disorders. Shame that tells feminine-presenting people that small and frail is the only option. Shame that tells trans people that their bodies are already complicated enough. Shame that tells anyone their pain is invalid unless it fits a certain mold. Because you deserve support at your lowest, your highest, and everywhere in between. You deserve support before it becomes a crisis, and we deserve a system that reflects that. Thank you.
Thank you, Zelah. That's an amazing story to share. Thank you so much.